Welcome to a brief description of Job Study Wizard, or in short JSW. JSW is a very versatile package designed with an intention to offer a single window real-time view of the factory to any sales executive on the move. One can perform all functions as if the sales executive has a virtual factory in his car. Using JSW, one can define a new job, schedule jobs, monitor progress and influence execution decisions, notify allotted tasks in real time. In addition, one can also define sub-assemblies and perform extensive what-if analysis of sorts, which, however, is not discussed in this evaluation version. JSW also offers a facility of an electronic diary that can be used by the sales executive to manage customer information, interactions, and manage sales targets. On the top of the JSW screen are 10 menu items whose names are self-explanatory. Each menu has several sub-menus. Some sub-menus have been disabled in this evaluation version. However, you can still see the facility it offers. We describe the menu items in brief. First one is Job. It allows one to open, create, save as jobs. One can simultaneously open several jobs independently. One can switch among jobs from the window menu that lists all open jobs. Next is Subassembly. Many value-adding jobs could have standard serve workflows. Such common workflows can be defined once as a sub-city diagram and saved. We call them sub-assemblies and they can be used as building blocks to quickly define new jobs. Sub-assemblies feature is not available in the evaluation version, but you can still have an idea about it. Next menu item is Packing and Dispatch. The process of value addition may seem to end with creation of a final saleable product. However, that is not really the end. We still must pack and dispatch the final product to safely reach the customer. These activities too must be planned or scheduled as they affect the final delivery time to customer's doorstep. Packing and dispatch module allows one to extend the CT diagram till the end. However, doing so is optional and thus treated separately. Packing and dispatch feature is kept disabled in the evaluation version. Next is periodical. There are some types of jobs that are repeated, usually after a uniform time gap like every week or fortnight. Such jobs are categorized as periodicals. JSW allows one to define a periodical and schedule it with instructions to the scheduling engine to always maintain future load of such periodical jobs over a predetermined time period automatically, saving one the trouble of repeatedly scheduling the same job over and over again. Remember, it is necessary to factor in load of non-periodical jobs as it would certainly impact schedule of other one-time jobs performed during the given period. However, this feature is kept disabled in the evaluation version. Next is status. This would be the most used option as it allows one to view status of all jobs and their individual tasks in real time being executed in the factory, as well as influence how the scheduling engine must schedule. In the original system, notifying running task progress on different work centers is handled by the concerned operator performing the task via a special work center console situated at different locations on the shop floor. However, to make the evaluation version a one PC complete system, we have bundled necessary functionality of the work center console in the JSW itself. Next menu item is My Diary. JSW is designed for the sales executive, maintaining details of customers and all interactions and fulfilling sales targets are any salesperson's primary responsibilities. An attempt is made to offer an electronic diary for maintaining such details. Again, this feature is kept disabled in the evaluation version. Next is Request. Time to procure raw material affects delivery schedule. In fact, this is the reason all inventory related functions too are the part of the original system. It generally happens that many jobs utilize common raw material already in stock. So, it makes sense to reserve raw material in advance if we are certain a job is to materialize in order to ensure delivery. JSW offers the sales executive the facility to do so from his desktop. Again, this feature is kept disabled in the evaluation version. Next is Configuration. Consists of three options: System Management, Reports, and Format Converter. The only useful tab in System Management is Units that allows you to set the desired display units. Other tabs are in a way irrelevant in this one PC evaluation version. Next is Window. If you have more than one job open, then all open jobs are listed here to enable you to switch among jobs in focus. We now turn our attention to the 12 buttons in the toolbar below the menu bar on the left hand side. The first 7 buttons from the left pertain to job definition and are enabled only when you open a job, whereas the next 5 icons are shortcuts to the most used features. We first open 2 sample jobs named Sample Switchboard 1 and second job named Sample Switchboard 2 so that the first 7 buttons are enabled. In addition to the 12 buttons mentioned above, you will see 4 more buttons on the right hand side of the same toolbar the moment any job is opened. We now explain each button briefly. First is View button. This button has 4 types of views. The most detailed view is the complete view where one can see the CT diagram at individual task level. Next higher level view is the sub-assembly view where in the entire workflow of a sub-assembly collapses into one box just like a task. Still higher is the part view. A part can have several sub-assemblies and they all get represented as one box like the task on screen. Highest level view is the product view where the entire product CT diagram consisting of several parts and within each part several sub-assemblies are collapsed to one box on screen. For complex and big jobs, a higher level view gives a bird's view of the entire job CT diagram. However, in the evaluation version, one can have just one product in a job without parts and sub-assemblies, so any view defaults to a complete view. Next is SA button. In original JSW, clicking this button opens up a dialog box to enable one to choose one or more predefined sub-assemblies for inclusion in the job. Since sub-assembly feature is not available in the evaluation version, you just get a message saying not allowed. Next is Task button. Pressing this button will open a window from where you can add tasks to define your own job's workflow. Next is SI button. SI stands for Set Inputs. Pressing this button will open a window from where one can select material defined for each get input task in the job. Inputs could either be procured from market or customer supplied. One can set expected arrival time for each input either in absolute terms or as an offset duration relative to job start time. Next is FP button. FP stands for final product. Pressing this button will open a window where you can update information about all final products in a job. Next button is validate button. Like a compiler, pressing this button will first validate your job to list warnings and errors for correction, and if found valid, will perform several calculations like getting to know the cost wastage and the time required to perform each task in a job, etc. Next is scenario. As you know, we define job as a CT diagram, which is nothing but the recipe or workflow to create a given final product. However, the amount of raw material required, the time to create, wastages incurred, etc. will keep changing with the extent of the final product to be produced. One can create several scenarios of the same workflow and save them for in one job. However, this feature is not available in this evaluation version. Next button is schedule button. It is not necessary that every job define the schedule, or in other words, communicated to the scheduling engine so that tasks of the job get executed on the shop floor. This button allows one to schedule selected jobs for actual execution. Needless to say, only valid jobs can be scheduled. Next is status. A direct shortcut to the Gantt chart view that can also be accessed from the status menu above. Next is simulate. Simulation is a feature where one can take a snapshot of the situation now at the scheduling engine and then use this snapshot to perform endless what-if analysis of sorts locally in the JSW without disturbing the actual scheduling on the shop floor. Since one can have hundreds of JSW, each can perform its own independent simulation. Finding out when new jobs added in will be completed is considered a very basic facility. One can perform several other kinds of simulations using this simulator. Pressing this button will open a dialog box to get a snapshot file if it is not present, or get a fresh snapshot file. One can use the password lips or small case to get a snapshot file. Though we shall not elaborate more in the simulator part in the evaluation version, you are free to explore this feature on your own. Next is JDF. It is a shortcut to job status form that you can also access from the status menu. This opens up a list view of all currently loaded jobs with the scheduling engine. You can see the jobs and, more importantly, like a stamped JDF to change the workflow of the job, either because customer wants a change or because the job is in error on account of a short production which must be made good before we can proceed further. Next is chat button. The original system is distributed. There are several types of consoles including the JSW, and each can have hundreds of instances. This chat button opens up a chat or email facility between all registered consoles within a factory. Since evaluation version is meant to work on one PC, this feature is disabled. We now turn our attention to the four icons to the right. Let us first start with the buttons to the most right. The button represents a well-arranged CT diagram, and that is exactly what happens when you press this button. Elements of the CT diagram get properly arranged. The next two circular buttons with a minus and plus signs are zoom buttons to zoom in and zoom out the CT diagram on the screen. The last button to the left is just a circle with nothing inside. Pressing it will update attribute values in the job entirely. One can have job level attributes value just once at the job level, and this change will trigger down calculations to say the individual task level. Imagine attributes value to be akin to a cell in Excel worksheet. The cell can also have a formula to calculate its value and this button forces a recalculation. However, attribute feature is not available in the evaluation version. Thank you.